Okay, it is, 8:30 p.m. on the west coast of the United States. Now I got to do some mental math here. It is what? 0330 GMT? I may have to look that up. It is cBas After Dark. We're kind of playing around with the time of the show. I just didn't feel like being up super late. I kind of felt crappy all day. Like I have a headache and kind of other unwellness sort of symptoms. Hopefully I won't puke on the air with you, but it is Nerd News Monday, and that means a lot to me. So I want to make sure I bring you all of the nerd news that is fit to broadcast right here on cBas After Dark, just barely after dark. cBas just barely after dark is what we'll call tonight's show. What's coming up on tonight's show? A few things, a handful of things, not the least of which is copyright claims on YouTube and how they manifest. I've actually had a couple of incidents in the past week where sort of it's been very strange. I've actually had a couple of very weird things trigger, videos being blocked or other kind of. There are certain levels of copyright claims. We'll talk about those and what happened to me, and we'll look at a really cool video of something that had something serious happen to them. It's a video game critic who actually criticized a video game. And the people who he criticized actually went after him with a copyright claim to bring down the criticism of their game. And it seems pretty fucked up. We're going to watch that. Hopefully that won't result in a critic or, wants to watch. Sorry, I'm plugging the show in on Nerd News Monday. Okay. We're going to talk about Google Fiber. We're going to talk about AT&T Fiber and the privacy issues that kind of result from that. Did you know that if you don't pay extra for AT&T Fiber, that they will go ahead and track what you're watching or what you're searching, what you're doing, so that they can send you targeted ads? I find that a little bit certainly irritating, right? Depending on who you are, that's either a vast privacy violation or you don't give a shit. You're okay with the lower rate in favor of being able to have all of your ads and emails searched and scanned so they can send you targeted ads. Also, Google makes you think you're smarter than you are. We'll look at that. I believe it was a scientific study where people actually looked into not the ability to look up stuff on Google. That's one thing. But being able to look up stuff on Google makes people think they just know stuff without looking it up many times, as it turns out. Kind of an interesting study and story there. What curse words do in the brain, the neurological effect of swearing, which I think is a really important topic because, so help me shit, like I actually have believed this for a long time. I believe curse words are, how do I say, the mark of somebody who uses language really well. In other words, that was always said of Klingon. People in Klingon, in the Klingon culture and Klingon language, recognize a good user of language, an expert user of language, if they know how to really incisively swear properly. And the vagina workout gadget, it's all ahead coming up on cBas After Dark, the early edition. cBas just barely after dark. Probably not after dark if you're watching in Hawaii. Okay, well, let's get started. The Google Fiber versus AT&T Fiber story. Let's look at the Google Fiber story first. The fiber launch. In fact, sorry for bringing up shit like live on the air. Usually I try to have all this stuff live and ready to go before the show starts so that I'm able to, just be smooth as silk here on the air, but it doesn't always work out. I'm going to look at my nerd news. I'm going to look at the fiber launch, and I'm going to copy and paste this website so you can see. I'm getting chimes all over the place this evening. Oh, yes, the NCAA. That's what that breaking news is all about. I don't give a shit about sports. You're not going to find out about breaking news on sports here, but apparently some team won the NCAA March Madness, which to me means one thing and one thing only. Thank merciful Christ, it's fucking over. Okay. I hate basketball. I hate basketball players. I hate basketball fans. I hate sports fans in general. But I will say this. The one thing I do feel was worth commenting on when it comes to the sports topic of NCAA college basketball players. Should they or should they not be paid? The answer is obviously fuck no, because those people are given carte blanche to do shitty in their classes and still get passed. They, get all the access to the women, all the access to the free shit that they get. It's the one topic probably in the universe where I will disagree with John Oliver. But I really feel strongly about this because I have been all those people who think NCAA athletes should get paid have not been legitimately in a class with college athletes or on a campus with college athletes, because those people get treated like fucking Jesus Christ walking on the earth, and unreasonably so, to the exclusion of other people, to the exclusion of other benefits of other people, to the exclusion of other people being able to, do medium to bad on a test in a class and still get passed in the class, kind of a thing, right? Those people are gods among men already. They do not need to be getting money for playing a goddamn game. I mean, the day that chess players and video game players and skaters are in that same category, then maybe we'll revisit it. But I don't think even that is probably, college is a place for academic studies to happen and research and, degrees to be earned and stuff like that. And I don't give fuck one if you are a basketball player and struggling. I remember one time, God, what was it in my college? I shouldn't go off on a tangent, but I'm going to skip over it. Some college athlete once I was in an English class with wrote a paper about, it's so hard to be a college wrestler, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, fuck you for whining about, you get free shoes and free shit all the time. You get, extra time on paper deadlines and extra credit on tests when you didn't earn it. You get to get caught drunk driving by police and not have anything that bad happen to you and not even get arrested or ticketed, just get to sort of escorted home. Don't tell me that these people need money on top of being treated like gods. All right. Let's switch to the Google Fiber story here. Where is the story? I brought up the story and I'm unable to find it. Here we go. Is that it? No, that sends you off into Infinity Land. That's the control room screen. That's not correct. Let me go ahead. That was an interesting little switch over though, wasn't it? Let's do this one, because this is where the screen is that I want to share with you. The screen I want to share with you is the following. The story about the launch of Google Fiber. Sorry, I'm going to take this hoodie off, mostly because I think I've been wearing it in every show I've done for the past week. And I'm also going to turn the heater off because it's actually quite warm here. Okay, Google Fiber is set to launch in its 8th market, Salt Lake City, Utah. This is from TheVerge.com. And again, it's about a week or so, maybe 2 weeks old. Utah is going to officially host the next city, Salt Lake City, to receive Google Fiber, gigabit, internet, and television. Google's announced the city is now in the design phase for laying out the fiber optic cable needed and for building out the Google Fiber network. While the build-out will take months, it's hoped that the rollout will help jumpstart the city's burgeoning tech sector, which I think is cool. The rollout follows the Google Fiber launch in Atlanta, Nashville, Charlotte, and Raleigh-Durham earlier this year, which was the largest service to date. The cities also are in the current design phase as Google maps out its network. Is it already? Yeah, it's already got a foothold, it says here, in Kansas City, Austin, and Provo. Sorry, I'm getting a text that I got to answer. Including Portland and San Antonio, exploring options there. It's probably not the last of its kind, obviously. All told, it's the great step in the direction of faster, cheaper internet service in the United States. God forbid I play this video, the Internet Balloon Project. Let's see what they have to say. I mean, I don't want to play too much of it.
Inside the massive hangars at Moffett Federal Airfield, Google.
By the way, Moffett Federal Airfield is a place I've been. I've been on the actual campus of it, and as a reporter, and it's a pretty badass place. What was I? I was actually doing one of my NASA stories. I've done stories from the NASA Ames Research Center a couple of times.
Deliver high-speed internet access to the most remote corners of the globe.
The first 60 or so balloons we launched all burst when they got to altitude, which was very sort of disheartening.
It's disheartening, all right.
This is something that has never been asked of balloons before, to be reliable and to do what we expect them to do. Before, it was just sort of like a vehicle to gain knowledge.
Okay, blah, blah, blah. We don't want to watch the whole thing, do we? No. Project Loon.
Internet access to specific locations in the most remote parts of the globe.
So I think that's what it's about. It's that they're bringing the internet access to places around the globe. Why can't I mute this?
Edge of outer space. When that didn't fail, they kept moving forward.
All right, blah, blah, blah. That's really great. So yeah, the Google Fiber is coming to cities near you. And I think most people know that that is kind of a really cool thing. Like when we get the Google Fiber internet in any place where I live, it's going to be very exciting because, I mean, the speeds will be... Here's the thing. I don't think I've been in a place that has data caps. So for one thing, I'm lucky there because many of the Trekkies in the Trekkie chat room I talk to, hello guys, if you're watching, I feel like I've talked about being in a place where you have a data cap, where you literally have a limitation on the amount of data per month you're able to have. And I've never been subject to that, except on mobile. That is the one place where I do identify with it, is mobile speaking. You get 3 gigs a month on AT&T kind of a thing, and you kind of make sure you're using Wi-Fi for most of the shit that you do, and that's kind of where it sits. But at the same time, to have that happen on your home internet service is really shitty. So for this Google Fiber thing to be an option, I mean, it's really cool. On the other hand, will there be data caps, and will the increased speed not really matter much if you hit a wall sooner? Like, that's going to cause more people to download, more people to stream, more information to flow. And if you have faster speeds, like Google Fiber size type speeds, I sense that that's actually going to be really a problem. And now, here's the other thing I don't understand, and I've talked about this before. AT&T Wireless is the company I've kind of always had, not because I like AT&T, not because I hate Sprint, Verizon, or T-Mobile, but because I really feel like they're all kind of equally shitty in one way or another. I had AT&T for my American cell phone the year I lived in Mexico last year, and it seemed to work mostly okay. So I'm like, all right, that's fine. But that said, like the data cap thing, I wonder how it will relate. I have not seen anything on we'll have to research that and report back to you 1 week from tonight on Google, on cBas After Dark, the Nerd News Monday edition. Okay. The other story I wanted to bring to you, Google's not the only company doing fiber. And that may or may not be a good thing. Speaking of the devil, AT&T, we were talking about just a moment ago. Brought to you by Belch Beer. And of course, the usual thing I say after that is that it's not actually beer I'm drinking, it's Code Red Mountain Dew. Okay. Let me switch to the story. This is from our friends at Ars Technica. One of the seriously, if I could ever get a job being a technical news reporter, a gadget tech reporter for the folks at goddamn Ars Technica, I would never ever want to leave, because that's a really great, not because it would be probably really good website, a really good job, but it would be amazing to be at such a kind of prestigious place. If you have AT&T's gigabit internet service and wonder why it seems so affordable, AT&T is boosting profits in a pretty shitty way. They are rerouting all your web browsing to an in-house traffic scanning platform. They are analyzing your internet habits and then using the results to deliver personalized ads to the websites you visit, the email to your inbox, and junk mail to your front door. So they're hitting, ads on the websites you're at, like you see the ad here for AT&T Uverse, whatever the hell. That would be something personalized potentially. Oh wait, is that actually an Ars Technica suggested article? That may not be an ad, but it would be there in that same kind of area. So websites you visit will have ads that were, come from the stuff that they scanned in your email. The email in your inbox, the spam mail, will be specifically tailored to you based on the searches you've done. And yes, actual physical junk mail to your front door. Somehow that little detail there is something that I failed to flash on the first time I read this. That really bugs me. There's something specific junk mail to your front door. But AT&T, in a few select areas, including Austin, Texas, and KCMO, places where AT&T competes against the $70 a month Google Fiber, Ma Bell offers its own $70 a month GigaPower fiber to the home internet access. But just the act of signing up for the deal also opts customers into AT&T's Internet Preferences program, and that gives the company automatic permission to examine each customer's web traffic in exchange for a price that matches Google. So yeah, you can get there. Competition is good in a way, but this is, and again, people who have used Gmail, for instance, are not foreign to this concept, because Gmail, and I reported this way back in the earliest days of the Nerd News, Sebastian Kuhn's broadcast, when Google says you don't have the assumption or expectation of privacy when you are using Gmail. Using Gmail is essentially using a third, it's like what they said. It was the Supreme Court said that if you turn something over to a third party voluntarily to deliver it, you don't have an expectation of privacy there. It's like giving your, personal data to a secretary to write a letter and send it. The personal secretary is going to be needing to read that letter and will know its contents. So the expectation of privacy in that way is non-existent. And in that same way, at least according to the court ruling I remember reporting on, you don't have privacy when you're using Gmail. And Gmail, in fact, scans your email for the purpose of sending you tailored ads to the web and to your email. Again, that little revelation about it coming in junk mail to your front door also skipped by me the first time. I didn't really flash on the sort of severity of that, and it also bothers me in a way I didn't expect. Now thinking about that, if you want to opt out, you can, but get this: AT&T charges at least another $29 a month, $99 total, to provide standalone internet service that doesn't perform the expanded extra scanning of your web traffic. The privacy fee can balloon to more than $60 a month for bundles that include TV or phone service. Certain modem rental and installation fees also apply only to service plans without internet preferences. So what does that mean? If you opt out, and again, just signing up for the service, the default position is opt in, right? So you are automatically going to be scanned if you sign up for that shit, and unless you specifically say, I want out. And then when you say, I want out, what happens? They start charging you for the rental for modems. They start charging you installation fees, and they hike up your bill so much per month, depending on the package you have. And Ars Technica goes on. Let me switch back to the screen here because this is such a good goddamn article. AT&T charges blah, blah, blah. It wouldn't be accurate to say that paying extra gives customers enhanced privacy. Paying those monthly fees that add up to hundreds more per year simply provides the same level of privacy customers would get from any other internet provider or from a regular DSL line from AT&T and so on. AT&T says internet preferences tracks the web pages you visit, the time you spend on each, the links or ads you see and or follow, and the search terms you enter. This helps AT&T serve ads targeted to each user based on that person's interests, and advertisers are willing to pay more when they know their ads will be shown only to the people who are likely to be interested in them, right? I forget exactly what the number is, but I remember reporting on, or it might have even been something I just saw. I don't know if I reported on this. Bill Maher, was it Bill Maher? No, it couldn't have been. Some story I saw indicated the number of times people click on a banner ad on a website. And it's like less than 0.1%, like practically, and the intentionally. I mean, when you intend to click, not counting accidental clicks, which happen all the time. Sloppy clicking, right? A term I think I invented, the sloppy click. When you accidentally click on something you didn't realize you clicked on, and then the page changes, and it's like, oh shit. It's not. I'm not sure enough of that sort of invention of mine to like patent or try to trademark that slogan, but it's not something I've ever heard anybody else say, and it describes a phenomenon that needs to be described and is relevant to people, and yet I've never heard anybody else say it. Sloppy clicks. So not counting sloppy clicks, the number of times people click on a banner ad is practically never when it's just a random banner ad. Now, these are targeted banner ads, so you might be more likely to click on something, let's say a Star Trek movie. Star Trek 3, The Search for More Money, right? J.J. Abrams production company. If you have anything in Star Trek, or they know you've watched Star Trek on a stream or something like that, they're going to be able to send you targeted Star Trek ads that might make you more likely to click on them. And not only might it make you more likely to click on it, assuming you ever click on an ad, but the advertisers pay more money for the targeted ads versus just show it to everybody kind of a thing. It's kind of the future of advertising in a very real way, right? Okay, back to the article here. AT&T's plan to watch what you do. And bring it up for myself to read it here. Because AT&T can see almost everything you do online, no matter what websites you visit, the company may be even in a better position to serve targeted ads than web behemoths like Google and Facebook. While Google apparently doesn't impose anything similar to internet preferences on its fiber internet, they are delivering targeted TV ads based on their customers' viewing history. So not only is it something, there's a bug on my screen. Not only is it something that is internet, it's, they're scanning your email and sending you targeted banner ads on a website that you visit. They're actually watching what TV. So if you watch Better Call Saul, the commercials you see might be somehow targeted in that way as well. As a side note, AT&T's best pricing may not be available in cities where it doesn't compete. Hang on, switch back to the screen here because I don't like me reading my stupid head on the screen reading to you. As a side note, AT&T's best pricing may not be available in cities where it doesn't compete against Google Fiber. Get that. So when AT&T is the only super fast fiber option, Like Dallas, where Google Fiber has not yet arrived, AT&T is charging $120 a month for gigabit service and still requiring that customer to opt in to the internet preferences. Some Ars Technica readers think AT&T's gone too far. Google watches you use Google services. AT&T watches everything and only matches Google's price. Scumbag AT&T, says a forum member. A customer may receive an ad or a promotion on behalf of an advertiser through an ad placement on a website or otherwise, said an AT&T spokesman. Customers' personal info is never given. That's not really the concern, I don't think, your personal information. It's that they're watching what you do or charging you up the ass if you don't. The personalized offers don't just appear on websites. They come through email or direct mail. That's the thing I just sort of realized tonight. If you search for concert tickets, you might receive offers and ads related to restaurants near the venue. If you browse hotels in Miami, you may be offered discounts for rental cars there. If you're exploring a new home appliance at one retailer, you may be presented with similar appliance options from other retailers. And if you search for a car online, you may receive an email notifying you of a local dealership's site. You cannot opt out from AT&T's email spam without paying the higher price, so worried customers should make sure not to give AT&T a preferred email address. Ha-ha! A way around it. Thank goodness for Ars Technica, right? Yeah. Have a secondary, spam, mostly email that you can just whip out and give to them that you never check, that's not important to you. So the email's going somewhere, they think you're getting it, and then, they're still watching you, but at least you don't get the spam. That's a way around some of it, I guess. It's not really a way around the expensive price. It's not a way around them scanning what you're doing, but it is a way to not have to watch those spammy emails. And here's the part. AT&T describes internet preferences as opt-in, but its website advertises the lower price, yes, without mentioning the traffic scanning unless you click See Offer Details. And even then, you have to click another link to find out what internet preferences actually is. So here's a look at the ad. If you look at this, here's the different options. And then where does it say? Service restrictions apply down here in the corner. Oops, that's not what I didn't mean to actually click that. Excuse me. Belch beer, best beer ever. And I think if you look below this caption, can I remove that? Yeah, see, data charges apply, see offer details. That's the only clue that these prices are not the actual prices. You have to click that and then click another thing in order to get around those things. And then, of course, once you get around it, you're paying the higher price. U.S. laws against wiretapping have exceptions for cases where there is consent. If internet preferences was ever challenged in court, the question would be whether the disclosures and opt-in system provide enough information to users. I got to say, they probably do have their butts covered. Those folks have lawyers beyond lawyers who are highly paid to make sure that that is technically legal, even if it's completely unreasonable, fair, or unfair from a legitimate standpoint. There are always questions about consent being willful and informed, according to an EFF senior staff attorney. The reason legally it's important under federal law is it won't be unlawful for them to look at this stuff if you consent to them looking at it. Federal regulators could examine the program to see if it breaks privacy laws, but AT&T's tried very hard to cover its bases. I bet they have. And this lawyer says, I think they've done a decent job. They would have an argument that they've made reasonable disclosure. I think that someone challenging it would have arguments that they didn't really get consent in the right way. So I think it's arguable either way from my decidedly non-lawyer brain looking at this shit. But, we all kind of have a certain exposure to this on a certain layperson perspective. AT&T's website certainly pushes customers to opt in. Even if you read the disclosures and understand what it consists of, declining the offer makes internet, TV, and phone service way more expensive. To find out exactly how much it costs to opt out, there's another goddamn... Why did this bug not die? I swear to God, I thought I killed it. Okay. Blah, blah, blah. To find out how much it costs to opt out, you have to go through AT&T's checkout process. So-and-so tested this last month and found that for bundled services, including TV, the privacy fee was actually as high as $66 a month. And it's not standard. Prices change over time. When testing this out last week, they found price differences ranging from $29 to $62 a month, up to $744 a year. But it's worse than that. Only service with internet preferences gets hooked up without installation or activation fees. Declining the internet preferences thus adds another $50 to $100 in upfront costs. And additionally, service with internet preferences comes with a 3-year price guarantee with a 1-year contract required. If you opt out, there is no such guarantee. AT&T can raise your bill whenever it wants. One R's viewed the lack of a 1-year commitment as a positive. The surcharge also eliminates the annual contract requirement. Okay, think about that for a second. That's not horrible. Sorry for this ad that's like all over the screen here. But yeah, I think many of us, when it comes to phone service, especially, feel like that 2-year contract bullshit is in fact bullshit. Like it's actually, they're roping you into a contract that you should be able to change anytime you want, and you probably shouldn't have to pay. But, that's how you get the iPhone for $99 when it's brand new, the big iPhone 6 or whatever the hell, the reason they're dropping that price for the hardware so low is that the service, they've locked you in for 2 years, and they're going to rape you slowly over a long time. I'm still getting breaking news updates from this goddamn basketball game that just ended. Duke tops whatever. Okay, I don't care. Nobody cares. If you do care, you're not watching me, you're watching ESPN. All right. Or whatever channel it's on. One reason the true price difference is more than $29 a month is that Internet Preferences customers get the modem and wireless gateway at no charge. Opting out requires paying extra for equipment, which AT&T will supply for another $7 a month. There's another charge for getting HD video. Anybody who's had cable and who's paid for a cable subscription knows that there is in fact a higher charge for HD video as opposed to standard definition video. And for that matter, people generally, I think, understand that the HD video is, in fact, seriously superior to standard definition, especially if you have an HD TV and you're looking at standard definition shit. Holy God, does that look bad. What was it? I think it was actually The Simpsons. One time I'm watching The Simpsons, and it gives you the option on, like, I was at my parents', and the cable thing there actually says when you click on one of the channel shows in standard definition, first thing it offers you is watch in HD, and you click OK to watch in HD, and the picture gets bigger, it gets more high res, and in The Simpsons, somehow that is letterboxy as hell. Watching a standard definition signal on an HD TV is ugliness. It's really, that's right up there with eating a bowl of dry grape nuts or the shredded wheat without any frosting on it, kind of a thing. It's really unpleasant. It's awful. A triple play package with HD and HBO. Oh wait. HBO and HBO Go are also concluded with Internet Preferences, but cost extra without. So yeah, again, if you opt in, you get HBO free and HBO Go. You don't know what HBO Go is? It's the thing that lets you, download the app for HBO on your phone, and then you get all their original programming right there on your phone. That's cool. When are they going to cut the cord and allow people to subscribe to HBO just on their phone who don't have cable at all? They've done it. We'll talk about that coming up. A triple play package with HD and HBO that costs $150 a month with Internet Preferences costs $212 a month without it, plus a $49 activation fee. So, it's not a small difference. They will rape you up the ass if you don't let them scan your shit. And I think it's pretty ugly, actually. Deep packet inspection. Changing browser settings doesn't keep your web browsing private. AT&T's preferences work independently of your browser's privacy settings regarding cookies, do not track, and private browsing. If you opt in, AT&T still can collect and use your web browsing information independent of those settings. So how exactly is AT&T scanning the traffic of Gigapower customers? Well, the company's vague on that. Some experts say AT&T may be using deep packet inspection, which is technology used for everything from preventing the spread of viruses to tracking down hackers and terrorists. If AT&T is your internet provider, your traffic has to go through AT&T systems before it reaches the rest of the internet. There is no changing that, whether you opt in or out of Internet Preferences, but the AT&T's description of Internet Preferences indicates customers' traffic makes one extra stop within AT&T's network. Using the IP address assigned to each Gigapower account, AT&T scans for your Internet Preferences election. AT&T will treat your internet browsing in accordance with your election. If you choose to participate, your internet traffic's routed to AT&T's Internet Preferences web browsing and analytics platform, blah, blah, blah. Essentially, that's a long-winded way of saying exactly what we've been talking about. Although an EFF staff technologist says the statement that AT&T is rerouting traffic to a special platform, to me, is the red flag that says deep packet inspection. So this is something from, who is this little box here from? I don't know. This is the one time when the post office analogy works pretty well for the internet. When you're transmitting data back and forth, it has some header information that describes where it's going. It might say roughly what the contents are. Think of it as media mail versus parcel post versus first class or something. These are the sorts of things that show up in the headers that ISP usually look at when they're figuring out where to send you traffic. Blah, blah, blah. Deep packet inspection is as if the post office would open up your email, your mail that is, and look at the letters or look at what does this package contain. Imagine if the post office did that and charged you less money to send it as long as they could look at your email or look at your mail, not your email, your regular letters mail, and you'd see what your packages contain. Look, he ordered a new Xbox from Amazon or something like that. Maybe he wants to buy an Xbox game now. Let's show him ads for that. It really is about looking at the inside of the content of your communications. In 2013, when the service launched in Austin, AT&T said it would use various methods to collect web browsing information without specifying further. Backing up a paragraph, Gigapower with internet preferences launched in KCMO back in February. AT&T has declined to make anyone available for a phone interview since then. AT&T is not saying if it's using the deep packet inspection. It's possible AT&T is scanning traffic without using deep packet inspection, according to one security privacy researcher. Blah, blah, blah. I could go on and on. This is a really good article. Again, the site here, just go to arstechnica.com and search for the article for March of this year, AT&T's plan to watch your web browsing and what you can do about it. Let's kind of skip to that. Privacy experts are alarmed, I think, for the reasons you can expect. User tracking systems are rare, but not unprecedented. This is really, it would take the whole show to read this whole thing. It's all seamless. Well, of course, it's going to be pretty much seamless to the user. If you care about privacy and cost, it is a difficult choice. And then the profile of the reader and suggested stories. So yeah, fiber is coming. If you don't let them rape you up the ass, they're going to rape you up the ass another way in the pocketbook. Okay. What other stories was I going to bring to you here? I kind of wanted to bring to you this video. I feel weird playing this video, but let's go ahead and watch. No, you know what? Let's see here. I want to do the story about the vagina, the vagina workout device. Let's just, let's see here, news. Believe me, when you type in vagina workout, all kinds of crazy things pop up. Okay, this is from April 2nd. Is it a April Fool's joke? It's dated April 2nd in the middle of the day. So if this is an April Fool's joke, they did it 36 hours late, or I guess 12 hours late. But take a look. I toned my weak vagina with this little blue blob. This is from Gizmodo. So again, not exactly an unreliable site. The thought was delivered after my newborn's placenta and the sneaking suspicion that things were not quite the same down there. So the Kegel, you know what a Kegel exercise is, Kegel. That's where you squeeze and relax the muscles that let you go to the bathroom. This device claims it can tone lady parts back into pre-baby shape after a birth. Once the person's daughter had finished using the vagina as a giant elastic water slide, this person knew she had to try it. Girl, I can say, because it's clearly a girl, clearly a vagina person and not a penis person. The concept of vaginal improvement is definitely having a moment. Billboards for vaginal rejuvenation tower over free. Excuse me, man. Oh, that Mexican food's not sitting well. Vaginal steaming is a dinner table topic thanks to Gwyneth and her goop. The Kegel is the latest newfangled device riding a wave of heightened awareness. Is this actually an ad for it? Let's just watch. Make your pelvic floor exercises fun. All right, so it's just music, blah, blah, blah. I don't get how it works. There's the site that does it. I will say this. We were talking about Kegel exercises. This article says Kegels, which explains the punny name, are about as low-tech, old school as you can get. Now, it's not just for women it's for anybody with incontinence, right? You sort of lose the ability, you sort of pee a little bit at times, and that muscle that you do Kegel exercises with is the muscle that relaxes, that lets the pee flow out of you, right? And I have heard doctors describe these weights. There are weights, and I'm not going to show pictures. I mean, I suppose I could look up. I've never actually done it, and I just was going to flippantly say I'm not going to show pictures, but I'm like, are there pictures for Kegel weights? They're little teardrop. Yeah, okay, I've seen them here. They're little teardrop-sized weights that apparently you insert. I think for a man, it might be a little bit different, but well, let's just take a look. It's not like it's a dirty picture, so let's take a look at the Kegel weights briefly. They're colorful. I think the different colors represent different weights because you're supposed to build up to it. Like, there they are. You can see what they look like. Okay, so they're little teardrop-shaped things that you insert and sort of hold them in and then relax the muscle and release it, and you pull it out with a little string there. And again, that's how you build a muscle, right? I mean, that's a circular sphincteral muscle kind of a thing. And you can go like this with your arm all day without a weight in it, and it won't build the bicep. But you add a weight, and there's some resistance, and the bicep gets bigger. Same concept, I guess, applies to Kegels. I've never typed in Kegel exercise weights before. Obviously, there's a wide array of them, and they're available. Those look like they're mostly for women, because as a man, I cannot imagine inserting anything like that anywhere on my body. Back to this little blue blob. A Bowflex for my vagina, she says. A doctor told this reviewer girl it makes sense. The first thing you do is ponder the existence of a pelvic floor exerciser. I mean, no pictures of vaginas here. You get the sense. In fact, frankly, it's a little bit uncomfortable. But she says, after all, these make sex toys. Oh, the same company that makes this makes sex toys, really good ones, with colorful silicone skin. The Kgoal, 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 looks and feels a lot like another device they make, which has the same haptic technology. Get this. The harder you squeeze it, the harder it vibrates. All right. Wow. Anyway, go to gizmodo.com and type in, I toned my weak vagina with this little blue blob if you want to read that article. We're wrapping things up. I'm not feeling great, so I might stop a little early, but let's watch some of this video. This week, I had twice happen to me. Once last week for Media Watch Wednesday. I talked about this last night. I played some clips from the Conan O'Brien show where it was newscasters reading the same thing over and over. And it turned out through one method or another, what was it? It was not Google's live Hangout. I was able to play it live without any warnings or anything popping up. And Google does have the ability to warn you in certain ways if you are playing something that is copyrighted or designated as such. So, I mean, Google Live here can tell you if you're breaking the law or, messing up with somebody's copyright kind of a thing. But what happened was that replay of that got blocked on YouTube. So many people, as I've said, in fact, more people watch me tape delayed later after I'm not live anymore than watch me live. So that's why I try to make sure it's always available. And in fact, it's just automatic. I just hit turn off broadcast and it saves the video and it's up as soon as it can kind of process the video on YouTube. And it's on my YouTube account. So subscribers just get a notification or whatever. Saturdays, as you may know, I do a fast food and junk food podcast or video sort of show with a partner. My partner is in Portland, Oregon. And this Google software is what we chose in particular because of a couple of reasons, not the least of which is it knows who's talking and switches the camera automatically to it. So I don't have to sit here as being a switcher and director and try and think of stuff to say and keep a train of thought. That's not easy to do if you're trying to keep a train of thought and watch the camera and select, sources and stuff like that. It can be quite a juggling act. So the fact that it automates a little bit of that is good. But we played a Taco Bell commercial, which features the song Blitzkrieg Bop. And I don't remember who the band is that does Blitzkrieg Bop, but everyone knows, hey, oh, let's go, right? And it's a good commercial, and the song is an integral part of it. But because that commercial was in there, that replay, again, it didn't flag during the live show, but when it was on tape later, the YouTube thing got blocked in all countries globally because of that song. And YouTube offers an option mute. You could mute just the part of the video where the song is. But because we were starting and stopping the commercial and commenting on it and talking over it and other things, for some reason or other, the automatic muting of just that section of your video so that the rest of the video can have its audio restored did not work. The function did not work. And so right now you can watch 90 minutes of me going and then Sarah going and us talking about food silently without being able to see what we're talking about. This has been going on a lot. I assumed, and I think I assumed correctly, that it's an automated algorithm that does this for the most part. But this is happening more and more. And I was in the Trekkie chat room. I think it was Kip, K1PP. Trying to think back exactly who it was. If it's not, and if it's the person who I'm crediting that incorrectly, then please, I apologize in advance. Let me know it was actually you who said that to me, and I will make sure and credit you properly next show. But somebody said this is happening a lot in the gamer community. Now, I'm not a gamer. I mean, I play games, but I'm not a gamer. And to me, it's unfathomable to watch other people who might be playing a game. I mean, I don't even really play that many games myself. Certainly not like massive multiplayer, world games. World of Warcraft, Game of War, shit like that. But I know lots of people play them. That's fine. I understand that. What I don't understand is huge numbers of people watching other people play video games. But that's apparently a problem. This, you're playing, and it's not just the music or a section of video or something that is copyrighted, designated copyrighted, and then as soon as you try to play it, it blocks you or it shuts you down or whatever the hell. Check out, it's about 10 minutes long. I don't really necessarily want to watch the whole thing. I'm not sure I fully understand it. For one thing, the guy's got a British accent. But let's watch a couple of pieces of it. I don't think this would get me copyright blocked because the whole point of it is that he's kind of against this sort of thing. Let me switch over to my YouTube screen and allow you to see what I'm seeing. And back to the weak vagina thing here just for a sec. But that's just because I need to switch to this one. It's Skate Man, I believe is the name of the reviewer. Jim Sterling is the name of the reviewer here. And frankly, I got to say, I'm impressed as hell with his presentation, with his writing, with his swearing ability, and sort of the whole animation and sort of introductory thing. He's really good, and I've never watched such a thing before.
The best of Steam Greenlight trailers is probably the second most popular playlist I do on this channel. I take trailers from Steam Greenlight, games that are hoping to get greenlit, and more or less examine how not to sell a game. Okay,
so he takes games that are coming down the line that have been greenlit, I guess, as he's saying, and sort of games that are on the way or maybe not released yet, and criticizes their marketing, it sounds like.
There are some amazing trailers out there, and
Trailers, okay, so video games are apparently, and I did not know this I guess I did sort of know this. If you've watched the Game of War trailer or other things, you're aware that video games are marketed a lot like movies, where a trailer comes out, or a 3-minute long snippet showing examples of various exciting parts of the game instead of the movie. And then maybe that 3-minute trailer is shortened to a 30-second version for the ads when you're playing Dice with Friends and you don't have the commercial-free version, or, everything from the Super Bowl on down on regular cable cast and broadcast television. That said, I mean, again, the similarity, I'm not always aware of every detail in the gamer community, so when I react to things that are new to me, try and forgive me as being, I guess I'm getting old, and I'm old school in certain ways.
Commentate over them and point out exactly what's wrong with them, and usually follow it up by looking at the description and the general response to it. I looked at a game called Skateman Intense Rescue recently, and, well, it has to be seen to be believed. And the following reaction from the developer afterwards also has to be seen to be believed. It is another Steam story, and this one is a real popcorn earner, so enjoy.
Okay, there's the game.
A few days after the Skateman video came up. Digpex Games removed all evidence of it from Steam Greenlight. At the same time, I was notified that Digpex had filed a copyright claim against me and removed the video from my channel. Now, this is different from Content ID, where automated systems seize your ad revenue. This was deliberately filed by the dev in a way that censors the video completely and also fucks with my channel in a number of ways. I get locked out of YouTube until I attend a patronizing copyright school.
Oh, okay. I did not know that. This guy apparently has to go to copyright school after he breaks a law or breaks a certain rule in a certain number of times.
Various restrictions are imposed on my channel. It's just a whole fucking mess of someone screwing with my goddamn work. We've been here before, of course. Cobra Studio did it to me. The Slaughtering Grounds' Digital Homicide did it to me. Whatever Digpex's reason, it seemed stupid and also shady given how the game itself was pulled too. I tried to think the best of it though. Maybe the dev just cancelled its game and wielded a sledgehammer instead of a scalpel. But then this story elevated beyond a simple copyright strike.
I like that
as the developer
phrase, by the way. He said wielded a sledgehammer instead of a scalpel. I like that.
Colour. Kotaku's Patrick Klepek had followed the situation and interviewed me about it, where I more or less explained the above and why these takedowns are bullshit. Meanwhile, he also reached out to Digpex Games, who furnished him with a response that could only be described as holy fucking shit. I have the full statement here as it was provided to me for rebuttal, and it's well worth listening to in its entirety because this alleged studio is high as a fucking kite. It's about time somebody stopped that stupid guy. I've seen all his video he is enjoying making money from is from Steam Greenlight, and Greenlight videos are from poor indie guys or new companies who have little to defend themselves.
Okay, so yeah, he's going on about this letter. It's a badly written letter. Now, I'm a stickler for good spelling, good grammar, especially when it comes to anything that's being released kind of media-wise. I myself am an awesome speller, always have been since I was a kid. It's just pattern matching, and I read a lot, so I'm aware of how things are spelled generally. I certainly was an English teacher, so the grammar thing is well ingrained in me from having been an editor and a writer and a broadcaster all those years, right? That said, I feel kind of sorry for anybody whose letters cross a certain level of badness, and this is like bad to the point of embarrassing. I don't necessarily need to, well, yeah, we can let it play. We're not exactly running out of time here. Let's just let it play a little bit longer and see if you can discern what he's talking about and what the letter's talking about. Essentially, he got one of his videos taken down, and not just taken down in the way that I had taken down. He had something taken down where somebody said, this person is stealing my material, and I want to ding his. When you certain level of copyright ding is rather serious, and none of the things that have happened to me have been nearly that serious.
Almost all of Greenlight projects are still under development. The developers are still working on it. So if you have something to say about it, is okay. Add your comment at Steam, just like other Steam members do. I am not scared about critics of my projects because as developer, you need that. He's clear that is not what he is doing. There is more already released games at Steam he can review. Instead, he chose Greenlight. But I can't stand people who are using poor, weak developers for money.
Okay, that is an accusation from the developer who made this claim against this British guy that I don't really understand. Like, he says he's using them for money. I'm not aware of that.
Used 30
I mean,
seconds.
I suppose, I guess if, he gets revenue from making these reviews, then he's using them for money in a way, but it's not taking any money from them. And if their game is bad and he's a critic that's worth his salt, I don't know.
Download your Steam Greenlight video, then use 5 minutes, add some funny stuff to it. Booyah! That's all he have to do. Next is sit and watch his little followers watch and enjoy, and he makes money. Why he don't review Call of Duty and Son of Rome or most of the games that have been released by Steam? He is looking for the loop.
Okay, that was them saying, why doesn't he review the big games, the other games that have been released by Steam? And what the author, the guy talking, did right then was show clips of him apparently reviewing those games that he was supposedly not reviewing.
The weak once, no matter what, you will find something about it because he's not dumb. I know he got the law on his side and his little followers. Some of the Greenlight developers too have contacted me. That's saying that does how he...
Okay, you get the point.
And no punishment for when they inevitably fail to follow through. And of course they won't actually escalate it to legal action because that's when they finally incur some fucking risk themselves. And Lordy Lord knows they don't want to have the goddamn cocking spine to roll the dice. This has happened to me 3 times now, and to other YouTube folks God knows how many other times, and I will continue to make a big deal out of it even as others start to roll their eyes and treat it with the banality that comes with familiarity, because it's not banal, it's always shitty when it happens, and it always deserves to be treated with the same contempt and disgust as with the first time it ever happened, because it's not me who has to be stopped, it's these malingering invertebrates who think having less money than EA should give them a free pass from critique, failing to realise that the moment you start trying to sell something, you're damn fucking right it deserves to be criticised, especially if it's a bug-riddled Frankenstein's monster of pre-packaged assets hammered together by a bunch of giggling fucking chimps. I got my video back, but it was not a victory for me, until these chicken-livered peddlers of defective detritus are put on a leash and are no longer allowed to anonymously lash out at critics they don't like without any form of consequence. We don't win. It's become clear to me that studios with nothing to lose because they never had prospects worth shit to begin with will continue to pull stuff like this, and will always get away with it. But contrary to what DigPex wants, I have one thing in common with those devs. I won't fucking stop either. I am here, and I will continue, and you can try to stop me, but you'd have a better chance developing a video game that actually works properly before you achieve that little feat.
So I'm not familiar with how, pardon me, these games are developed, but it did sound like he said that these are pre-packaged elements slapped together by chimpanzees, I think you said. In other words, these aren't game makers who are making a game organically, originally. These are people who kind of slap together, images or avatars or, copy and paste chunks of code that create those things from, I don't know, other games. I don't know what source those things would be copied from and pasted into a game that is slapped together by the chimpanzees, as he said, but it's pretty fascinating. And it's a great video. We won't watch it again in its full... maybe we'll try and watch the tail end of it here. I mean, I'm kind of feeling like I want to wrap things up because I'm not feeling super great, but let's watch the tail end of this just because, it's pretty goddamn good. And I love this guy. This guy is a writer. This guy's like a writer's writer. He's really good, and he's a good swearer, and he's vicious. And you rescue one dog.
So, weird situation. In fact, I'm not entirely unconvinced that the game wasn't set up hastily as some sort of bait to initiate this exact situation. To what end, I don't know. I mean, you've inconvenienced me a bit. Well done, I'm sure your parents are proud. But, life moves on, I'm perfectly fine. And you are now rendered a joke, so well done you. I do have one thing to say, though, to DigPex Games, and indeed any other developer that thinks this is the correct course of action. Okay, now let me clue you in. You say I am no king, and that's true. I am but a human. You are but humans. We're born, we live, we will die one day. But here's the difference between you and I. Okay? Now, when people think of Jim Sterling, they think of Jim Sterling. When people think of your shitty 2-bit games, they think of Jim Sterling. You see, whatever meager misery of a legacy you could have hoped to attain, it has now been rendered unto me, okay? You belong to me now. You are but a trinket, but an ornament to go on the shelf next to Cobra Studio, next to the Slaughtering Grounds guys. You are mine. So I hope you enjoy that, because I'm Jim fucking Sterling's son. You can't stop me, and if you have a problem with that, you are cordially invited to eat my pussy. Thank God for me. Thank God for me.
All right, so he's obviously got away with words. He's obviously really, quite the writer. He's got a crew of people working for him here, and I mean, it's obviously a good reviewing product. I think that's sort of a 10-minute, ingestible, digestible review that impactful. That's something else I look for, is something that is relevant. It means something. It's understandable, and it's impactful. It has an effect. And to the point where I sort of find myself, the only thing I sort of I don't like Jim in every single way. The one way in which I kind of am not a huge fan of Jim is arrogance and ego. Now, he's driven to anger in a level that makes it. He's obviously very angry, and he's obviously got a right to be, because he's sort of been copyright pinged by people who he's, I think, correctly reviewed negatively. In other words, he reviews games negatively. They don't like his review, so they ding him with a copyright thing. That's not cool. That is extremely uncool in a number of ways. So I don't know. I mean, I find myself troubled by a fair amount of his arrogance and his ego, but it seems pretty justified, so I'm not going to really fault him for any of that. I try really hard to be as humble as fucking possible. I'm an expert, as I say, in only two things: the news media, how news works and so on, and Star Trek. I don't claim to be an expert in anything else, and I think more people should not claim to be experts in things that they're really not an expert in. I think he's an expert in games, and that's why I'm giving him the sort of extra benefit of the doubt that beyond what I would normally give somebody like that. Let's see here. I want to pull up the last story I want to bring to you. Curse words, how curse words are processed in the brain. It looks like I can't quite find the news story that I brought up. Good Lord. It was a great story. Well, we'll have to look at it tomorrow night. I'm kind of losing steam. We've been on 55 minutes, so we'll wrap it up. Thank you for being here. cBas After Dark, super early for a Nerd News Monday. We'll be back at our regular time, 10 p.m. on the West Coast of the United States, 0500 GMT tomorrow for for Game Show Tuesday. Fucking A. We're going to do Game Show Tuesday, and God, if there's any show I like better, there's no show I like better, I should say, than preparing Game Show Tuesday. What game shows will we do? I don't even know yet, but we'll be preparing it, and it'll be fun for you and for me. And if it's not fun for you, tough shit, because it'll be fun for me. Make it a great Monday night. Make it a great Tuesday. We'll see you on Game Show Tuesday in the evening. I'm cBas. This is cBas After Dark. Good night.